Is it good afternoon? Okay. Good afternoon. It's almost evening here.
Yes, they should have to know.
Picture gondare da.
This one, you don't say that. No, yeah. No, Cabaleso.
The Jugula. We're on verse 19 or 219. If individually, each chapter has 25, so this is the 19 out of 25.
Oh, yeah. Tadira. Sumba to drink talk by you about Sanjay, Masumbe to sensible. No, to drink talk by you about it. Sanjay jumped in the song of my desk. I'll do the to say Carasana. To send Diga, to send talk by Mindy Silva. To train talk by Yuba Maria, to train talk by Maria Sierra. Any Tula Tushe Nam Dani Tamje in Juba Maybe Toje in Lase. To train Chunshu Teliani, Tushe Nam Dani Tamje in Juba Maybe, to train Chiglia, and to train Shandaji Su Chesona. Dani Tamje in Juba Sanani, when Chigredora. Oh, the Chigre Maran, those Kagadego Resgora. Kagadene Chaje to Resigorno. Oh, do you la do Shanam Dani Tamje in Juba maybe Togje in Las, to Shadena, Togradi, the Mado Japan Ben Roshag Marwa, Togje Resgora, Togje in La, Togje Tagbar Mirisosa. Gigi Pasun Drone Toya Yuna. Treasure Toya Yuna, the Tagba Yungma Resigora. Kun Durajang Midavan Drea Delba to the Union Duranduera. Toja Tagbar Miriso, say. Oh, the Shagua. Digi Lamnan and Hitima. Chogala Chora.
So we've had the reasons before. Well, first of all, if you look at the outline, it says why Buddhists do not mention the existence of. On page 320, the outline mentions why Buddhas do not mention the existence of permanent particles. Now, we've had two reasons why this idea of permanent partless particles doesn't work. One is that if they would have to occupy the same space, so they could never build a composite phenomenon, and the other one is if they're just if they are touching, then what do you say, coalescing, then that has the problem that they would have parts. Here then there's offered another reason. It says, for the following reason too, particles are not permanent. Particles are obstructive in that they cannot be penetrated completely by other particles. So the fact that they can't merge completely, then that means that they are obstructive, and that which is obstructive cannot be permanent. Obstructive not being permanent means then that it's subject to change and the unfolding of causes and conditions. So obstructive has that problem as well for these partless particles being permanent.
That is all the Lohida. Tena Namia, Sanje Nam, to train Tagba Ni Misson Sigua, Siganiba de Chimadia. To say Tena, Sanje Chumden and Namje, to train Tagba Yuba Missumba Resura. They do say Caresana, Tongdeng over Tagbarne, Kando and now my Indisura. Oh, do you Namia Sanje Chumden to train Tagba Missumba to say you there? Togje Sigara, Tongden the rest into the Togu. Chigil Togiora, Pandruma, Quadi Todigra, Tongden Sigura. Tongden over Tagbani, Kandu and now my Indies, Togje over the Tagba Imbadi, 아니 강도야 유다도 강도야 나와 많이 돼서 참 맛이 비실세라 여바 많이 돼 체매 마음이 비실세고라 맛이 비실어세 근데 통대한 딱 봤네 강도가 나와 많이 돼 되나 남이야 산제는 되게 딱 봤니 미송세 딜랍다
The verse then carries this meaning. Obstructive, then you have to think of it as, obstructive is the word. Tokden means that they sort of what's the word? That they have to. Tokpa means just to come together like Gama's fingers, and they're obstructing one another, and so then and they can't completely merge, right? So then this is never a characteristic of a permanent thing. So a permanent thing that is obstructive is not seen anywhere. This is what the first two lines of the verse says. And then, therefore, Buddhists never say that particles are permanent.
단디 쇼데 트레버시도 셈잠바 간다스도 셈잠바게 두전 참에 까기오라 셈잠바게 두전 참에 요 마르스 까기오라 셈잠바 간다 된담 조제게 릭바 쪽내세라 주내기 말 쪽내기래 두전 고바르 제신세 셈잠바게 오디 주기 직접 자원나 처럼 두차 주도 유세 두전 참에 까기오라 두전 지지체 아니 딜레 샤르로 노장 땡워스 두전 주기 코스나 시겨라 주 지니 숨시나 주기 직접 자원나서 그것도 수 코스나 시겨라 처럼 두차 주도 유세 끼기 처럼디 차 주래도 그래서라 딜리치 유나니 딘도스 초신은 디레체니 시르바 땡다 원에는 주체 드레도라 두차 주도 유세 주부다야 고지는 공부한 두진 삼대죠. 주부대수 직차서나 마도바제죠. 그 두진 끼들 봐 팀들네. 강가 직차서나 시고라. 공부한 두진 삼대죠. 근데 공부 처음부터 봐 레레레 시즌도네 진행도나 강가 아니 두진나 신제 체르지에만 도시 강가 충주차로 거라. 직장자만 용 말이야. 공부한 두진 삼대죠. 공부선은 도도 공부를 네 강가 도도도 시거라. 근데 두젠도 판도네 대간도나 마 두젠마도 첨부 차에 매차로라. 네. 다게 주요를 강가 직차로라. 네. 될 때 그제도나 파 직차지 첨부 마차지 충주차로라. 근데 된대지는 까기요라. 네. 두젠 치료 심장복이 치료 매시거라. 치료지 소요 말해서 샘기 당이 삼래서 그래서 샘기 치료지 소요나 에네 셰바의 욕산 변에 고시점네 충충충단 두전 참여요 거래서 거라 네 두전 참여요 말해서 대매자다 치료요 말해서 거라 딜랑단다고 데 샘잠베 강다 된담조지지 그래서도 치료요나 된담바와 치료 매바도 동반이 참으러와 섬섬으로 된담조지리요라 리바주네 두제 고박바지 두제 참여요 말해서 고요 레세라 남시 딘룹 오래다 남시 딘룹 켈렘바니 리바 넘버 3제도 충배세 치료기 수고요 말에 치료기 두제요 말에 nange sheba de temperature yore sigora dimandi pare sigora chirugi sude yogore nange sheba yogore sigora diten chame menaya diten chungshude chajeche diten yogura chi su yogore sigora tene kaje semza namshe tindu du kelembane riba number 3je do chungbe dendan sheba nigan jigdena chide dragba she kelang barchawosa 실로게 돼 요래 수다티로를 잘라서 난게 대전 집에 셰바테 요시 니가 요시 켈랑고레세 실로 치르기 수요 말은 난게 셰바치부 요시 켈랑나 되게 말해서 거라다 심자만 가봐치기도
심자만 난 신세나
되게 말해서 야
So here the Chittamatrans who there's a statement here about the Chittamatrans. otherwise known as the mind-only school, they refute partless particles. They have this refutation where they you have a thought experiment where you have a partless particle in the center, and then one in each of the cardinal directions, and then one above and one below. And so you have like a partless particle that therefore has to have 6 sides or parts. But then they also say if they're partless particles, then to form anything substantial, I don't know if we'd say substantial, some kind of some matter or some the word, something larger. Okay, that's probably a better way of putting it. And then if they come together, they would always have to merge into other, interpenetrate others, so that nothing gets larger. And then they say even how many large things that you put into that are partless as well, they'll all just emerge into there, and there would be no increase of size. So then as they refute partless particles, they're forming external external existence. Then they have this idea that of a subtle form of emptiness as being emptiness of this kind of external existence, and then they they reify the internal nature of the mind, that there is this consciousness is then said to have true existence. So then but then it says here in the commentary that we don't accept that view, that there is external existence, and those existence have parts. Okay, and then the consciousness also is accepted, not over-reified. And so then the commentary says here, Chittamartras who refute the existence of particles by applying the reasoning of ultimate analysis, but assert that consciousness is truly existent, should accept objects and consciousness as they are conventionally accepted, since exactly the same reasoning applies.
This one.
No.
Oh yeah, don't do that. Ngaba says to it. Ngaba Taba said to Kaba said, the tongue Chirkaba, Chirado Kaba, Telanganduga, tongue Chirado Kaba, the Langayu, and Ngaba Tarba said to Kaba said. This one. Ngaba Tarba said to
Substantially existent.
Tongue Kaba, the Chirkaba, the Chirado Kaba, Sinidua. That Chirado Kaba, the Langanduga. Ngayon and subject Ngabadira, Ngaba Tarba Setukabala, Tunsen Yindua, Rangde Tarba Setukaba, Rangateba, Chitamala Soba, Nangbasangeba Rangateba, Tarba Sestruing is Debativa Kagadoa, and Shande Target Rangshin Tarba Kabas, Shanding de Bene, Target Rangshin Tarba Kaba, Niduata, Tambu Rangde, Tarba Setukaba, oh, Tilia. Gogba setu mitebatas gogba sutun gogten telesigora gogten tarba nyemo sebe nyemo pangba seru to susa gogba setu mitebata nyangelen debe yingsu tunge maluba pangbar shebata gawas 니용도 다 당보 치자 마월이야 가르치도스나 고바 제주 밑에 바데 셰기도 고바 제주 밑에 바네스 디소 당보 셰데 고den데 제스트 바 인스 랑게 테바 치자 마도 시기오리티 밑에 바데 셰기도 디지 랍샤나
rangi le trader ma with it.
라루 수도 남바 산제 바 랑게 테바 시고라 투타마
Here we're shifting to a new topic, and it's called refuting substantially established liberation, which has two parts to it. One is refuting the substantially established liberation of our own sectarians, referring to the Vaibhashika, and then refuting other sectarians' liberation identified with the self. So the first part of this first one, which is refuting the substantially established liberation of our own sectarians, is unfeasibility of substantially established cessation. When we talk about cessation, it's the state of elimination of a affliction. Wow.
노야 다 당보 타와
Again, that was not clear, what you just said. You said refuting other unfeasibility of substantially established cessation. I couldn't hear that last sentence, it just dropped off.
Oh, it did?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Okay. So it's saying the unfeasibility of substantially established cessation.
Yes.
And a cessation should be understood as a state of having eliminated an affliction.
디소다 다 당보 고바 제주 밑에 바더라 고든 제스트 바 예스네 밑에래서라 랑게 대반 두마체 명점도 마도 바다나레스 랑게 대바 치라마와 시거라 이니 고든세다 저다 남가 고든데 이니 명점도 똑베파 딱바 잠게 라야 샤마투네 시거라 랑게 대반 두마체 명점도 마도바 명점게 샤바 예바데 마도바 샤네 마시네 시거라 마도바 타나레스 콘솔랍기도 시거라 가릴랍기도서나 산제 남 투제 딱바 메송바 데메게세 산제 좀 된데 투제 딱바 마송바데 덴바레 시거라 오 춘데마제 남네 빠고 셰 송바 송베 람제 덴바 토바르 제벤 고바 제수트바 출륜다부 요데스 투제 딱바다 요 말에 덴바레 산제게 송요 말에 제가 시아베 덴바레 시거라 이나야 춘데마제 남네세 데마제 고den다부 남카다부 시거라 데마제 남네 빠고 셰 송베 티 딱바레 셰 산제게 송요레 시거라 그래서 람덴게 토바르 제벤 고바 람 곰발라 때네 빵자녀모 고벤 고바 빵자녀모 세베 세바 오디 타르바하세 고den시고라 저는 람덴게 토바르 제벤 고바르 제줍 출륜다부네 예데세 고바 제수주바 출륜다부데 요레시고라 예데 데메나 박베 덴바 송바 셰송바야 미르반디로스 고베 덴바 송바데 메베렌도 레시고라
네.
저장 고바세데 출륜스네 하고 이제 되네 출라시라 출대지 소용게 디바 까거라 녀모다 시제제불라 소바테도 바까지 공주께 뭐주자 바까거라 그래서 그 출륜다버려서 그래 축가게 출하나시래 그 제스트바지 요거래서거라 제스트바지면 아니 녀모 바까고 말로 하시거라 그래서 고데데 제스트바래 뭐버래 내가 지금 요래 텐션 여기 요래서거라
네.
데스기도 하네 근데 라버던 더버들 라버다란데 유로시나세
So if we read the commentary before the verse here, it says that assertion of our own sectarians, meaning by Bhakshikas, who do not understand uncompounded phenomena as merely nominal. Okay, they can't grasp the idea of uncompounded phenomena being merely nominal. So they say, although it is true, this is what the Vaibhashikas then say, although it is true that Buddhas do not mention permanent particles, they say uncompounded phenomena are permanent. When they talk about uncompounded phenomena, they're talking about when the Buddhists talk of space, or when they talk of cessations. And so they say then that these cessations are a result of true paths, and so then you have a true cessation. So then these are they say that these cessations then have to be substantially existent. Okay, substantially existent, and which is like a dam. They say if they're not substantially existent, then the afflictions will just continue to flow. So they have to have some kind of substantial existence. Means in this case able to perform a function, and so they're performing the function of like stopping the affliction, or the whatever it might be, the cognitive obstruction, to continue. So then, if this were not so, it would be inappropriate to speak of the third noble truth, which is the truth of cessation. Yeah.
This one. Oh yeah, that shena da pa ka gwe yor wa. Ka ba chu yor wa. No chingda table shen sig do. Tarba ke de yena ne sig do. Chingda so ko chingbar che be le dang nyomong ba ni sig go ra chingji. Gyu kun jun de ba ter sig go ra. Chingda so de ko de chingba de ko에 풍부되는 삭제 년령이 풍부다고 돼요. ene chingbarwa taade sakje nyilengi phungpul pha chingbare te tongye den ba sigora chingda table shens o koala chingje ge nyomo de le treje ge tab lamge den ba tame ba usumdo to ne combater sigora lamden de tab lamden le shen tarba she jawaji zesu tuba shenda che yoba mare sigora tarba kede zesu tuba ngobochi yoba yena ni sigora dele che ya meje te ese dene tarba she meje ese o be koa chingji kunjung temba so reba nyamdo labshana chingba tungye temba da tugunle tabar chebe tab lamje temba le shen sigdo chingda table shen sera tarba ngobor gyorba kede yönane se tarba kede yönane se ndiswa yönane te pemben rebu gashi che ko na se dele che ya meje de tarba de ngobo yene te rebu ke gu re se gora rebu gashi che ko na dele rebu che ya meje de se tarba am goba te ge rebu shenda ke ki ma re se gora dele che ya meje de tena tarba she meje se pemba 중세 jan 중와 매바 되나 se pemben rebu ke ba chi ma re se gora tena goba seju tarba she meje che bar mirikso se tena tarba she meje se she che rigi mares tarba ses truba ye she che rigi mares o di chen pha ka gdwa this one that de so if we read the verse 220, it says, if liberation, which is other than what binds, is bound and the means exist, it should not be called liberation, since nothing is produced from it. So it's easier just to read the commentary along with this. It says, true sources bind to cyclic existence. The afflictions and karma then bind to cyclic existence, and that's what binds. Then that which is bound are true sufferings. And then
true paths are the means which liberate one from sufferings and their sources. That's true paths means like the wisdom cognizing emptiness. So if liberation, which is other than these, were a functional phenomenon, as this is they're saying that the Vaibhashikas are saying that it's a functional phenomena, it should facilitate an effect, but it does not produce any effect, and not the slightest facilitation occurs. Thus, it is inappropriate to call such a substantially existent cessation, quote, liberation. So such a substantially existent cessation is inappropriate to call liberation. No.
그래서
No.
뭐야? 안 됩니다.
네, 차요. 좀 된대게.
데레란데. 데레서.
또
다들 디바던 디서. 뭐야?
오케이.
어떤다 가르치고도 세나? 타르바스 두장가서 가르치고서 타르바스. 코알레 타르바스 거라. 코에 동엘레 타르바. 야, 네고 코에 코레 주 니모 세바, 니모 빵바. 람디 템바 콤네. 니모 께 메가 차라. semna nyamu kiri omarwa. Semna nyamu sebarwa. O de semna nyamu mebe chatelia se ni lamkomne mebe chatelia ngoba slabshara. O de semna nyamu sebe chatelia ngima nyamu ye tanda mebe chatel lamkomne mebe chatel teleng ngoba semngi tagba samre sigora. Ma do ses tuba ngobu chi homare sigora. O nyamu ngonen konge de karesne nyamu sebe semdira. 남들 남색도와 녀모 그 세베 셈지어라 어디 셈 녀모 그 따바데라 어디 뭐버를 제스트 바라 어 되게 애니파 녀모 게야데 세시 저지기어라 남들 셈데 고바데 코디 나르 녀모 요 단다 매베 찾아라 고바스파 타르바스 따바 삼제마도 제스트 방법이 요마레스기로 어디 지금달라
the other tenet systems then say it's inappropriate to call it substantially existent. The way it is referred to is that when you meditate on the path, then you have that meditate. What do we call it? True paths. When you're meditating on the true paths, then you have a cessation. The cessation is simply an imputation to that state of an elimination of an affliction. It's the actual liberation is talking about the mind. And the mind at that time is they talk about Jeffrey translates this as deliverance path or something like, or emancipation path. I can't remember exactly. That's the mind that's generated. That's what is called the liberation in this case. Because namjolam the tarba Taba se chogyara be taba.
남들 남대게 왕게 너무 깨기 요마라. 너무 보세 중게 깨매 중게 남들 남대게 시기와라. 어 나를 남kom고 콤벌 때네. 될 타르바스만 타르바스도 되긴 되고 세베 차코랑 거기 되게 자와지 요마레 뭐 말해서요라.
Basically I misspoke. It's not called liberation, just that liberation, the mind of the path of liberation, that the mind is referred to as that, and that's that's what it is actually doing the creating the cessation. The cessation itself is something that is not a substantially existent phenomenon. It's merely imputationally existent.
다든다 고바세데 세스트루바 라고네 트루바 오 딘데시 오마레스기도 와. 오 디요 마레스 카레스는 고바세데 제주 장군의 트루바시요나 네 딘데기 마레 탐바산게 좀 된데게 고든데 똑베파 딱바섬 인송샤도 와스게요라. 똑바섬에서 덤베스 긴론다세 나본데니 맹점 맹기파 딱바섬레 똑베 딱바섬레 세게요라. 데베튜다 카레데 데베튜다 마옹베튜다 남가다 냥엘렌 데바스는 고든들 세게요라. 강사고 강사데 다요레 송거라. 셰송바당 게베 타르바 다점 딱바섬시 켈랑 버차에 제줍 켈랑 버메죠. 타르바데 다밍다 데파 자다 주지데 자다 똑베파 아니 나른 녀모 요 단데 녀모 세바 대점로 파 딱이 어레스거라. 딱바섬시 켈랑 버차에 타르바 셰자와지 고든 셰자와지 제스트베고보 아니 랑윈에 투바틴데 켈랑 버메죠 오세. 무슨 거다.
랑윈에 druba.
모데 타르바 제스트바 마르 타요레스거라. 딜룽델 제스트바이나 랑윈에 요버지고요라.
So then the quote here is from the Buddha. The Buddha said, "Monks, there are 5. These 5 are only names: past time, future time, space, nirvana, and the person." Nirvana here is talking about cessation, and so then one should therefore accept liberation as a mere term, a mere imputation, and not as substantially existent. Here, not as substantially existent comes to mean not as existing somehow from its own side, but is a mere imputation. Or that, and we're talking about a state of an elimination of an affliction.
Yeah. Oh, that didn't take a shit. Yeah, they're in Belgium. You should have batch. Don't understand you should did it.
Now we're going on to verse 221.
Oh, yeah. Tanya Nyangelen debe yingsu tungye maluba pangbar shebada gyawa sigdwa. Nyangde topsonene tungye maluba pangbare yoba mare sebare sewatida. And then gag those chishegdwa. Or condition chumden de kang tungye de malubar pangba. Chumden de kang tungye de malubar pangba. Selwas the members of the Sigot Chibber. Seba, Sheba, ne Pumbu, Kun Pangba, Pumbu Kun Pangba, Seba, Deshada, Trawa, Goba, Yangen Deba, Shesum Be Long Dele Nisigua. Yangen Dela, Pumbu Nam, Yumi, Yangen Debe, Tarba Tobatese, Yangen Debe, England Debatese, Pumbu Kanga de Seba, Yoma Resum Gudwa. Yangen Dela, Pumbu Nam Yumi, Kansa Si Maise. Number Tamjedo, Yangen Debe, Yingla, Pumbu Nam Yoba Minshin. Tela Dene Tagbe Kansa Jansiba Minde, Nobu, Tempermawa, Tana, Tenda Temba Kandoya, Madrube Chirose. Oh, Tenda Temba Kandoya, Madrube Chiros. Kansa Pumbunga de Tensa de Che, Teletenge Kansa, O Te Kanga, Tuguma Rest, and the Tebes to your Mares on Gudwa. Tenda Temba. Then they chose the Chang and Temba de Ten de Ora. Temba step to stay 10 de Tua. Then the Temba Siora. yoba meeting obo temper ma watana tenda temper kando madu beshiro se kando nyangen de jorba maton te nyang de kangshi se ten temper truba kando nyomo ta kyawa sebe ten temper truba kando nyomo ta kyawa sebe ne nyangele debar kurba phungbu ta 강사 강야 마통와 될 템바 냥데 풍부단 강사 강야요 말에서 냥데 톱사스는 세겨라 템바 냥데 템퍼처바시 중세장 매베 타르바 양 딱바 잠시도 켈랑바르 차오세 그래서 단디 텐데 시샤식도 제자마와 택반만 배터스 루체나 아니 냥엘인데 바토베체 풍부 세바레 강사다 강가요 말에 시완양엘인데 잉글랜드 네바레세 숨기어라 그래서 어디네 신체 시기사라 그래서 강사 풍부요 말에 강사요 말에 되면은 아니 되는 거 봐서 지금 거기 제스트 봐시 용토구 말에 스템바도 봐시 용토구 말에 쓰기도
그래. So here in verse 221, what's being addressed is it contradicts the explanation that all suffering is abandoned in the sphere of nirvana. Refuting is another reason refuting the substantially established liberation of by the Vaibhashikas. So the Vaibhashikas have this assertion that when you attain liberation, then the person and the aggregates are, what do you say, destroyed, or for lack of a better word. So then they have a quote from the Buddha saying, the Buddha said, that which is the complete abandonment. The first two lines of the verse then say, in nirvana there are no aggregates and there cannot be a person. That's it. So the subduer said, that which is the complete abandonment, removal and extinction of suffering, the abandonment of all the aggregates, the end of worldly existence and separation from attachment, is cessation and nirvana. So according to the proponents of functional things as truly existent, this means, in this case, that the Vaibhashika, then this cessation means the aggregates are entirely non-existent in the sphere of nirvana. Nor can there be a person imputed independence on them, for neither the reliance nor the reliant exists. The Den and Demba, if there's, what do you say, just like the book supports, the table supports the book, kind of was showing that example, then the person and the aggregates are, not, are, what do you say, entirely, they're gone. They're entirely non-existent in the sphere of nirvana. So so then the next two lines of the verse say, what nirvana is there for one who is not seen in nirvana? So this is like a refutation of that particular stance of the Vaibhashikas. Neither the aggregates nor the person are seen as a truly existent reliance, truly existent reliance which reaches nirvana through the ending of disturbing attitudes and rebirth. So then what truly existent nirvana reliant upon that is there? There's not the slightest. Thus one should accept liberation too as mere imputation. That if you have the idea that the person and the aggregates are truly existent, then did Pumpo dan kansa did Denver dube yina dene Yangasharana.
Oh yeah, Kairos. Ande desido ande. Number tamje do nyangele debe ingla pungbu nam yoba mention sido. Tela tene takbe kansa ja yoba mare sigora. Ngobo tembarma watana se de chirama wadel sigora. Chirama wadel sigora. Chirama wada chirapa ni kagareda.
Oh, that.
Kaga chigile.
Mawa, that did so.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yoba shi karsa.
That
degree. Yeah, on the day beche. Ngobo tembarma wa chira ma ta zo sigora. Nyangele deba tobese kansa yo mare pungbu yo mare. 네 동반이지 잉글랜드 내버려 시기라 거죠. 네. 도이치게 요래 텔레테네 티켈링도 와. 마미시완 요래 시카나 루신 두신가 소탐제 쩌버죠. 루신 요래 시와 좀 넘버시바 누버죠 세죠라. 최지 잉글랜드 내버려 시테네. 야 강사다 시바다 풍부칸에 요 말에 세시요라. 어딘데 하나 시시도 뭐부 템버마 왔다나 텐다 템버 강도야 마주베체로세. This one. Oh, did it? Didn't that got it?
The young guy. The Denver Druba Gorla Chig.
Oh, de. Kando Yang de Gurba, Matonse, de Yang de Kangshisigdo. De Temper Madruba, Kando, Nyomota, Java, de Pumbuta, Kangsa, Kaya Madrubara, and the Teletembe. Nyangele deba nyangde ses truba ngobo chi ngum harwa sigora ten tembar truba kangdo ya nyomo kangdo ten tembar truba kangdo sigora tene nyomo ta kyawa sebe nyangele deba gyurba phungbu ta kangsa kanya mathonwa ter temba nyangde tembar truba kangshi chungse ja mebe tarba takba jamdo kailang barchaos. Kansa da pungbu kanya temba truba mere. Mena tele tembe ni nyangde temba truba kanshi chungse yodi yoma rese. Nyangde da tarba seyade takba jamli shagu rese. Kailang barchaos.
So then what nirvana, I'm going to redo that idea of what nirvana, the last two lines, which says, what nirvana is there for one who is not seen in nirvana? Neither the aggregates nor the person are seen as a truly existent reliance, which reaches nirvana through the ending of disturbing attitudes and rebirth. So that the aggregates and the person then are not truly existent. So how could a truly existent thing reach nirvana? Then a truly existent reliance of the person and the aggregates, how could they reach nirvana? And then what kind of, then there can't be like a truly existent nirvana reliant upon that person and that person's aggregates. So then, so that being so, then not the slightest nirvana is reached that's truly existent. Therefore, one has to accept a liberation that is a mere imputation.
This one. Oh yeah. I'll go in. Don't you did this one?
Some guy.
That wasn't the killing, but I did this one. Oh, that is let me out. That is Shanda to them on Shanda. Oh, down the day. Nyanduki Tarba Tobne. 풍불항만에 양해를 대버서라.
Mm-hmm.
풍불항만에 양해를 대버서. 학제 자좀도 항미 자주 승이 용거라. 근데 학제 자좀 봐도 녀모빵 단다 강사 요라. 항미에서도 풍부대 세로서나 공부소서나 야 전에 풍부대 세를 강사하다 강가 교체버려. 공부하니 이용라 내버려 쓰기요라. 뒤켜는 그 말도야. 두다 공만 심장바다 전에 우마바테 쪽에 풍불하만에 년도다 랑게 풍불하만에 양해를 대베서 리버 교체가 말해. 강사 교체가 말아. 어디네 양자 고택 받침을 쇼상 대체요라. 단데 지라마서 뒤켜는 게 말아. 년도이 람라쇼네 양해 풍불하만에 양해를 대베 톱스는 타르투사르. 고택 받침을 야쇼예요 말아. 랑 디스 질렀다. 랑게지 풍불하만에 양해를 대서네요. 강사도 두스가가 교체배 소리 시기도 와.
No. And then it did around it did because take a chembe lam la.
대바 챔벨 함전에 풍부 삭제지 풍부 세버를 마도. 시바 요래 남시 요래 강사 요래 소화 요래 디데유라.
No.
교체 말아. 어디니 질랍샤.
So then there's this idea in the Vaibhashika. It's taken from a quote from Sutra that the person, the aggregates disappear in this in a sphere of what do you say? Sphere of emptiness, almost you could say like that, or a dharma sphere, or something like that, and so there's this idea that the continuation of the aggregates and the person is completely extinguished. So then they have this idea of Thabkhe nyangde, Thabkhe nyangde. A nirvana that has remainder means that there is the person in the aggregates, and the person that, and then the nirvana that has no remainder is kind of this extinguishment. This is not how it's explained in the Mahayana. The Mahayana has this idea of what is extinguished there is the afflictive obstructions, and but there's a continuation of the person and the aggregates to on a path towards Buddhahood, or the Mahayana path.
This one, Thabkhe,
Thabkhe.
항매 다좀바. 항매들이야 이거 말아. 풍불 항매에 양을 대해서나 아니 소화방 선당 강사 강매스. 학제 자좀 받을 요라. 네. 그 염모반사래. 네. 염모반사대 님의 랭의 방법 풍부 요래 강사 시대요라. 네. 다 공부 좋아서나. 네. 좋아서나. 네. 아니 다 풍부에만 방샤배 고에 풍부되어 말아. 네. 풍불 항마대 매셔라. 항마대. 네. 님의 랭의 방법 풍불 항마서 학제. 네. 뒤요 말이다 마음반다. 뒤선장 한민양 대스고라. 한민양대 톱소나. 한민양대 톱소는 대수 강가요 말했고라. 네. this one.
No, this one. You need to maybe the younger son, Lamna. But just to kind of repeat that idea, there's this idea of a arahat that has remainder and a arahat that has no remainder.
But is this the Vaibhashika or the
Vaibhashika. The idea of the Vaibhashika that it's an arahat that has remainder and arahat that has no remainder. That means having a remainder means you still have the aggregates that the person still has the aggregates that were brought about by karma in that lifetime, and so. But then, in the end of that lifetime, those aggregates are given up, and the person and the aggregates are kind of extinguished. That's the idea of a nirvana without remainder.
this one.
Then it take chin Thabkhe young day Omaro.
Nami Yangde Yori to do Jibata, Shebata Council to Mavachal Mara Yora.
No, oh, ne.
And the Timmy Hami and the top son, Tibachin Bilamlia, should have sung Yora.
No, ne. Yeah, they have this idea in the of nirvana without remainder in the Mahayana. They use that term, but the person and the aggregates are not extinguished as a continuation into the Mahayana path leading to Buddhahood.
This one.
No.
Oh, yeah, don't you bet. Not even there, the Shende Dagi Ranshi, the Tarva Kagbala Sum says to her. Shende da Chiribata Zosigora. Shologangan Zutira. Karsore, Nishutang Nitira. Oh, Niba Shende Dagi Ranshi Kagbala Sum Sera. Randigatan Tarva Setu Kapat Dosare. Trangjengi Tagbes, Chiribe, Nane Trangjemba Seshora. Trangjengi Tagbe Shiri. Tube Tarba Tagba Kagwa Sigdwa. Da Shiri se Kibuse Skellingiora. Oh, Digi any Tarba Tobatella. Dig Tarba Tobatella. Da Shiri Tube Tarba Tagba Hinse, Dikagwache. Sheba Yube Nube Tube, Dasum Duade. Kagba. Sundwa Tina Tambut Shagara, Niba Suba Pansi, all younger and Lagumare. The Tambut Transgengi Tagbe, Shiri de Tube, Tarba Tagba Kaba, said the Redwa. Oh, the Transgemba Nare Sigdwa, Chiru Transgemba. Oh, Koja Tarna, Nyangel and Debani, Nanzu Chebina, Nyangel and Debate, Tarba Topson and Nyangel and Debate, Temebe. And Tarba maybe can Messigora. Then Kansa de Yomare, Pumbu Yomare, that Tarba Yomare, Tarba Zestuba Yomare City, and Hala Messigora. Oh, Gary Resena, and then Jorbe Soda, Kibu Tade do Shebese, Nenjoba de Com Jamni, Chizo said, Ya Tuja Kwa Kanga to Jigan Dram and the Kanga to Tongchung Getilla. Chizo Sigara, Chizo say Kellingra. Chizo da, Kibu Tade do Shebale, Chambula Soba, Nenjuba de Comjani, Chizo da, Kibu Kansade, Tade Soso Yimba de Shebale, Chambula Soba, Koan Jube, Rimbelones, Chizo say, any long Chambo said, Tindy or Koshijan, you stand at Yagua. Oh, any Pakwa Koje, Sudan Jada rejected to any tell. Kibuting walk ordered any quack de Yora. I could Nenjuba de Comjam, oh, this how much in the Chizo, the Chido, Samje, how could do that any Chizo de Kansa de Mari, Pembure, Pembura, in echo, King the Switches Sierra, Mosania, or Dark Kanga Tuesday, Coca Hako, so Samje, and it's Koran Dulia, Sutra jealous of a kind of Maris. Then a Koran Chibu never, Star Chibu. Tashiri Kibu Takwa never. Today that Aratovre. Nazuta never Shagmar, Tashiri Kibu Teore. Within Dulia, Sutra jealous over Yonani or the Abundu do some Chakaki, just a marriage charge. Tarvatore, Nazuti can the Messido. Nenjurbe, so Kibu Tade do Shebale, Chembula sober, Quarn Jube, Rimbalone, Lom Chembo Sanichi. Suggested Shijin you stand upon Shing Diora. There's a gang Mavishari Sigora. Quarren Jube Rimbalone Kanga Mavishari. Namgur Tamja so Pala Shive Sese, Namgur Kanga. Suggested Jalasoba, Namgur Kanga to Mavichagora. Chizo Pala Shive, Chizo Pala Shani, giving to the Mavichagri Sigora. Shiriji Kibu Nyakji Nebes. Da Sheba Riba Kibu Kanga Chigba Consulolia. Da Shiriji Kibu the Chigbu never resgora. Oh, Tidizani, True, Da Yechinase, True, Da Yorese, Da Mevacha Yomares. Oh, this one, eh? Oh, did you love that?
Now we're going on to a second section here in refuting substantially established liberation here. Is refuting other sectarians' liberation identified with the self. Okay, so it starts with this, it's got three different parts to it, but the three following verses. But then the first verse, 222, then says that is in the outline is about refuting the permanent liberation consisting of consciousness imputed by samkhyas. So this is the samkhya system. So a samkhya person then would, or follower would say as follows, that according to us, there is no flaw that nirvana is not liberation because of lacking a reliance. They're saying that we don't have this problem of the person and his or her aggregates being extinguished in a state of whatever emptiness at the end of of the continuum of the person. So that instead they have this, when an adept, they explain their own idea as follows. When an adept understands that the principle and person are different, so they have this idea of a general principle, or simply just the principle. The principle is what gives rise to all the different manifestations of existence, and it all comes from that one principle. And then the way the adept or the meditator or the one who's very advanced then understands, when they come to understand that it's the principle, they have this realization that the principle is giving rise to all these, to the manifestations of phenomena, and then in that, when they have that realization, then the principle itself is said to sort of feel some kind of shame, and then stops this manifestation. So then the person, the conscious person, is kind of left in this state of no manifestation. So it says here then, there's like all these different 25, they call the Samkhya means that like a listers or something like that, and so they have a list of like 25 different kinds of existence, of different kinds of phenomena that are manifested from the principle. So then that, and then it says, so then when an adept understands that the principle and the person are different in the process of involvement in cyclic existence, such as the Great One and so forth, stops. Just the Great One and so forth is just referring to this list of 25 different kinds of phenomena. So when everything subsides into the latent state of the principle, the conscious person remains alone. Thus there is a liberated self. The conscious person is what, that's another existence. The conscious person remains alone, and therefore there is a liberated self.
Sibadan Giria Sibadan, Sidan Trela Tarbe Sesera, Siba Koala Tene Tarva Tobe Sesegora, She Yunden Chishi Yesera, Yula Sibe say in the page Sawato Jura, Sidan Trela Tarbe Sese, Seba da Trene, and Koala Tarbe Sesegora, Sheba She Yunden Chishi Yusido, 유라 세바단 제와라 타르베체스라 타바 토디스거라 시리지 기부 여바르 켈랑바 미릭바타스 그 다시리기 기부 요레 강사 메베 껴요 마레 다 타르바샤 초그레슬라우르와 오야 인티드 세단 제라 타르베체 셰예세 시리지 기부 여바르 켈랑바 미릭바타스거라 le shembe ten la kibu shebar chejense kibu se de le lom chambo se nibadira dege ne le shembe ten de ya kibu de shebar chigira ha ko kibu de shigi hore sura le lom chambo se de melong we nibata bo se ko yu ba jo de chucha ne yu de kibu la su ten ne kibu shebar chigira kibu shigi hora yu kanga lom chambo melong ni bata su de jalo so badile cha ni kibuga o de sama hakugo resigora
de mingla karasigite
lom chambu sigora malam nan digre lom chambu ko lo sigrita lo ngaranzo lo te chiba maro lom chambu se melong ni bata buchi yechera pojo yu kanga se ne ko kibul su dengensin kibu kanga hakugo resigora ni shita la digre le shembe ten la sura le pa shembe ten de la kibu de ne yu de shebar chiga re sigora sheba yeba ni ja kibu ngor gyurme je tabar kelen becher sheba de da sheba rigba kibu se kera takbe ngol ya ta shiri je kibu se takbar kelen ki do asigora ne da ye sheba me tin de ha yo mari sheba ye ne yu ji she ko yu ji she ne 네 유강가 매바 차요 말이 유생경 요 레스거라 셰바 여바 니자 기비용 어른 줄미제 딱버 켈랑 베체르세 네 저에 내가나 셰바 여바 켈랑라스 타르바 톱두자 셰바 여라 연den치 셰바 여세발이야 저라 연den 케게 요 말레스거라 셰바스네 유지 셰고로 바스거라 아니 유강가 유지에 매네 유셰자데 매네 신경이 온거 말아 왔으거라. 걔라 연대 지시 유 중세자 매버다 시리지 기부 유라 롱초체도 걔랑바 강시세 다시리지 기부세데 유라 롱초게 들어와스거라. 롱체자 남규 남가라 남규나 팔아셴 매 롱체제 남규 소다 데로 레자라 속바 강가 매버차라. 디 매네 아니 지데 타르베세 기부셰바 여바 민바 네소 dire da tiba de lagura shiri ji tibu yole longcho je do khelang ba ka she longche je namgyur nam pala shane mebe cherna ene tidu da shiri ji tibu yoba khelang ba dig ma re sig do o tiba de chilam na ni
so the answer here is from the Buddhist viewpoint, where it says, when free from attachment at the time of liberation, what good is the existence of consciousness? That's the first two lines of the 222nd verse. What good is the existence of consciousness when free from attachment at the time of liberation? So it follows that it is illogical to accept the existence of a conscious person at the time of liberation, when there is freedom from attachment to objects, because you assert that the intellect makes known to the person. What was that?
Is it the intellect or the intelligence?
No, the intellect. Because you assert that the intellect makes known to the person objects to which there is attraction. So the this idea of intellect it's a translation of a certain term, but what it's not what we're thinking about as intellect. It's like a mirror that the conscious person is like looking at. There's no objects of the senses and so forth, but there is this kind of like some kind of a thing that they refer to as intellect that reflects the, these kinds of phenomena that were manifested by the that are no longer there but are somehow reflected in this. It's like a mirror. And so then, it follows that so then, because you assert that the intellect makes known to the person objects to which there is attraction, you also assert that it is the person's nature to be conscious, and that this is permanent and immutable. So what is the value of accepting the existence of consciousness during liberation? There is not the slightest value, because while accepting the conscious person as an experiencer of objects, the transformations which are experienced no longer exist. So having subsided into a latent state. So how can, if the person is their experiencer of objects, then how can the person exist there if there's no objects to experience? And that's the point being made.
This one. Otenda da derida. Sedan trela tarbe sesgora. Oh, koala seba da trene tarba tobe sesgora. Koge sheba yese, tashiri kibu yese, tashiri kibu chibu yese lara. Oh, geran shiri kibu yese adalia. Yenden hakbu kaya yoma resgora. Karesena. Dise kiran sheba yona. 아니 유유 걸어와서라. 다시리 기도상 그 셰바디요나 유디요 거래. 유시에 거래. 유시는 아니 기부치부 말아봐. 유시기도 아 기빈되는 단다 유대도 와서라. 어디 비자고 기도 셰바 유세데 패토 말에 윤대하고 개요 말에 기도 셰바 유바 켈랑토 말에서 거라케라. 가르스니 셰바 이나 유시에 걸어와 유메세 살아와. 유강에 기분 약진 내려서라. 어째서고 기도 셰바 유바 켈랑 벌었다 요 말에 세전 남들까요 요 말에 기분 찍부러 와서 거라.
So their assertion is that the person is there, the conscious person is there, and there's nothing to be conscious of. So then the point being made is that what is the use of having some a conscious person if, what is there to be conscious of? And that's expressed when in this in the verse where it says in the first two lines where it says, when free from attachment at the time of liberation, what good is the existence of consciousness?
This one. That daily language. Chidi tarbes yanko language gora. Tangjamba lagudwa. No chidi tarbes tarba tobes gora. Kibu sheba yeba member ne sos. Oh, tidu sai kibu sheba yomare. Kibu koran changjang re gora. Kibu re. Sheba yosne yuji shegurti ne kundam gyure ne tarba togu yomara. No that tidu sai sheba me. Chidi tarba tobes kibu sheba yeba member ne sos. Sheba me cheche kibu changja yose na sigora. Kundaba dilabda. Tidu dilabda. Anti ho dilamna.
So then this person, the follower of the Thabkhe, then comes, Thabkhe philosophy, then comes back and says, well, what if the person remains without consciousness of liberation? It doesn't really work for the, if there's nothing to be conscious of, for the person to be conscious. Well, what if it's just the person without any consciousness?
This one. That'll park what's Oh, sheme paye yebaya, sour yeba mindang sungs palagudwa. Kawachio, oh, sheba mebe, tre kibu yeba kelang by Yansigora. Sheme paye kibu yeba Yansigora. Sheme paye yeba Yansigua. Sheba mebe, trelve, call it, drink tarwatum gege. Kibu yeba kelang by la, kelang by ya, sour yeba member sungbar talse. Oh, dear. And sheba maybe kibuti yon to Gimares gora. Sebures gora. Oh, the candidation. Medan sawa tar kibutan sheba kamyan be rangshin chick to Kalambi. Kiran medan sashi sekba nangshi. Medan sashi sekba ni kagan raya yomare. Me ino sashi sekba yogora, sashi sekba ino me yogora. Kiran medan sashi sekba nangshi. Kibudan sheba nibude rangshin chikba. Be chikba kelengi yobasi gora. Da sheri ki kibusi. Da dan sheba rikba kibu tunjik. Rangshin medan sawa nangshi kagan ruju mege kelengi yobasi gora.
Doctor.
Da dan sheba dan rikba dan kibu. Da she ri ki kibu. Ya. Da kiran da she ri ki kibu kanga chikba imba sigora. Da dan sheba rikba kibu kanga chikba imba. Me dan sashi sekba nashi imba. Me yin sashi sekba me se labya yo marwa. O de kiran de kibu yo sheba me se na. Kibu me shandu re sigora. Karesni kibu yo ne sheba yo buyo. Sheba da kibu ni pete kagan ruju mege me dan sashi sekba nashi imba sigora. O dila. Dine mala jimba. Sheme pa yoba ya sawar yoba mille sungsen din jaba de.
So the
Sheba
verse here then replies is a response to that assertion, where it says also to exist without consciousness is the same as not existing. Okay, is clearly the same as not existing. It follows that to accept the existence of a liberated person without consciousness clearly amounts to accepting the person's non-existence, because of accepting that the person and consciousness are of one nature, being either equally existent or non-existent. So they have this assertion that the person and consciousness and what they call is, I don't know, knowing and kansa ripa
Da sheba
the I,
da
the
sheba
self.
rikba
Yeah.
rikba yu rikba
You rikba?
rik rakigo
Kigu, rikba.
Oh.
Yeah. Oh,
You rikba.
and
Tong,
awareness, I guess we'd say. These
Sheba,
are all together as one, and so then it's said to be like fire in its nature. Its nature is to be hot and burning. So then you can't like separate the person from consciousness, and that's their assertion. So then, how can you then say that there exists a person without consciousness?
This one.
No, this one.
Yeah, Dande sheba yube nube dube tarba takba kaba se to anibade tade shende ta rangshin ji tuba kakbal sumsi ba changjen ji takbe shiri ji dube ta takba kaba se tindo sara sheba yube nube dube tarba takba kaba se dra niba sheba yube dube tarba takba kaba ne sigdo no kede tre negam na sheba nge me jang sido ta ko labger changjen labgdo o tarba top dudusa tarba top sawe negab de ya sheba ngone de yo ma re sigdo sheba nge me jang sigdo yeshe be neba yebe ta yedo shenas sheba ngone de yo ma re ina ko yeshe be chidan neba de yosa ene ta yose lamne digre sigora yeshe be neba yebe ta yedo shenas Yeah,
so then the Thabkhe follower is coming back with another assertion, saying that this is, by the way, the second part of this refutation of the other sectarians' liberation identified with the self. Here, part B is refuting permanent liberation consisting of the potential for the existence of consciousness. So the potential for the existence of consciousness. And here So the assertion is, there is a self during liberation, for though there is no actual consciousness, the potential to be conscious of objects exists. So then the Buddhist has to come back with a response to this.
다 대한민국 됐다 바카기어라. 타르바르 다지 예나니 셰여 사비 시바 예식도. 오 된되게 말해서라. 그 가르랍소스나 저에 내갑나 셰방을 매장 셰바 셰 유셰베 누바 유베 다 예슬라라. 오 걔는 된내갑나 셰방원에 되매 유셰베 누바 유자 다 예스는 되게 말해서라. 대한민국 바 달서도. 타르바르 때 다지 예나세 타르바르 다지 예나니스도 타르바 토베세 계란 때 다지 예베 예나니스고라 타르바 다지 예나니 셰여 사변시베니 셰바 예고 그래세 셰바 예베 사변 네바야 시나서 셰바 코란 메나디 셰베 유셰베 네바디 예세 랍쇼 그래세고라 다디 예나 다요 마르바스고 되세 예나야 되세 셰바 메베셔세 셰바 메자 다요 마르바스고라 다다 셰바 치바르데라 노 게데트 디데딜라 딜라베도 디양 카직스고라 대 미릭 바타시 자와들라우라 타르바타지 예나니 셰여 사변시바 예 대 미릭 바타 타르바 템바 다지 예나니 셰바 예베 사변 느바시바 예나야 대세 셰바 메베 에치르세 디코 방랑루 랍기도와 디 오마디야 코 랍기오레 디카바레
So the response is stated in the verse that well, the commentary says that too is illogical. Okay, this idea of a potential of consciousness. So if at liberation a self existed, there could be a seed of consciousness or a potential for consciousness. If at liberation a self existed, there could be such a potential or seed of consciousness, okay, but at that time there is no consciousness, okay? It's okay there could be a potential, but there's no consciousness. Therefore, what do you say? My objection stands. Why would you have a person with no consciousness?
This one. Da yang ko labge orda chu labge orda. Kede tre ta me na sigdwa. Kede tre ta me na sigdwa. This one. Kede tre ta me na. Digdwa. No, Ralu pa labge orda. Mar ko chu labge orda. Trangen ba chu labge orda. Kede tarba tobe se trelwe ta me na sigora. Ni tarba me be se. Tene tarba yo ma re sigora. Trelwe ta me na tarba tonge ta me na ni tarba me be ndo re sigora. Ko music bar gyurwe se ne ko pangye me be ndo re sigora. Ti mende ba tomashi do gyurwe se ko pangye me se na ne kenan kyen chembo mangbo je yung re se. Sulab ge ora nambal.
Oh, right.
This one. वो कहते ट्रेवे ता मैं ना थारबा तो बेसे ट्रेवे ता दिशा में तुम ना इन्हें थारबा यो मारेस थारबा मैं ना खोआ पांगे खोआ जिबा मैं बन जो गुरेस खोआ पांगे मैं ना नहीं केरा मैं देवा केरा ले क्या मांगो यो गुरेस सोला बुदवा
Okay, sure, love it.
ओ दे दे
So then next the follower of Samkhya sort of takes the what do we call it? The offensive, takes an offensive stance and says, "Oh, you Buddhists then are getting into deep water, into trouble." So he or she says, "If there is no liberated self, there is no liberation, and thus cyclic existence is indestructible. Many such unwarranted entailments arise." If you're taking that kind of position, you Buddhists, then there are many unwarranted entailments.
뭐야 된다. 데메 나네 다 팔랍겨라 루랍겨라. 데메 나네 시발레 삼바 요바 마이노 시도와. 오 셰바 요베 죽바타세. 데 뉴바 템버 요베 주센 키스겨라. 오 시발라 기부나 주가 미주 냠베 삼바 태바 요바 민데 미테버타 삼바 태바 요마 인스겨라. 삼바 태바 요마 가르스거스네. 셰바 요베 죽바다 데 뉴바 셰베 뉴바 요베 뉴바 템버 요베 주센지 이네 시바 코알라 기부남 코에 죽으레다 코아 코게 메브레다 요버레스 텐데케랑 삼바테 태그마 레스겨라. 삼바 태바 요바 민바르타세 삼바 요바 마이노세데라. 가레스네 데메 나네 시발레세데레 텐다 요나 테테나 하스그라 텐 다데 요나네 코알렌 죽바다 타르바 요마이세 남샤 테나야 저에 다데 메나데 메베세 저에 다데 메베에셔스고라 코알레 타르베 다 메베에셔스 가레스 티디 코알레 타르디 셰바 메베에셔레 유 메베에셔스고라 this one
did go to my son they indicated
나 디 코도 인지죠라 디다쇼 데데데로 가서는 거죠 셰나세 코출랍스와 타르바다 코안 죽바 저에 다메나 코아코야다 코안 지게데 코안 직바데 메바데 타르바 메바데네 교망부 죽으레세 출라버와 노다 발랍게라 자와 데메 나네 시발레 삼바 요바 마이노세 라루 랍게라 셰바 요베 죽바타세 데 네바 템버 요베 주센지 시발라 기부남 셰바 요바다 셰베 네바 요 네바 템버 요베 주센지 시거라 에네 기부라 기부남 코알란 죽바 요레 메레 코알란 죽바 메나 코알레 타르바 메나 아니 되게 말해서 그 단도 소견 줘버봐 오데 기분은 주가 미주냐베 삼바티야 태바 여바 마인데스고라 디 되게 말해서고라 가르스 결혼 때다 여나 대테나세 다 딱지 라와챈지 다데 여나 다시리 기부데 여나 아니 코알은 주바 여르다 타르바 여 마르베 시틴데 테나야 저 다데 메나데 메베셔 저에 다 코란데 코알레 타르베 다데 메베셔스고라
den dak yöna den
dene koale tarba yoreda mereda se somebody tegres gora gero koale tarbe se tarba tobe se tre da kora mera tarba tonge mera
so then without it, there is no speculation with regard to worldly existence. Here, the Buddhist is coming back with a rejoinder, saying that it is irrelevant to speculate whether because there is no consciousness, people would or would not enter liberation, or whether because its seed is truly existent, people would or would not enter worldly existence. It would be relevant if a self as reliance existed, but there is no liberated self. So then the Buddhist comes back with when you're talking about that there is, when you're saying that there is no liberated self, then these other speculations are irrelevant.
This one. Oh yeah. Tangani diridande. Sumba tanzin sebra pangba thaba rigba sedra. Niba shende tagi rangshin kakbadra sumdua. Changjembe ti kausare sheba yube nube tube tarba takba kausare ta tanzin sebra pangba tabar rigbaas di shegdwa sumba tangzin se kansa ki tangzin sebar pangba de tabar rigres kansa ki tazun zimba sebar pang sona zo sona kidime chasun tarba tobare sigora o yobane nyomo sebar pangbe kone nyelenge pungbu malubar sebar pangbe se nyomo se sona ene nyomo sebar pangbe kone nyelenje pungbu maluba sebar pangbe se nyomo de sakje nyelenje pungbu koya pungbu lembe gyure deora nyomo ganga de se sona pang sona ene koya pungbu sakje nyelenje pungbu segra nyelenje pungbu segra leda nyomo bale tene langkobe pungbu tel sigora nyelenje pungbu ene ganga se rugre sigora ganga se dedu jane tarba tobare nyomo sebar pang sona tarba tobare de chelia ene pungbu langma sakje nyelenje pungbu koya kyawa langya yo mare 오 디인도다 다디도 타르바토바레세 시기어라 녀모 세바르 빵베 코네 녜렌지 풍부 말루바르 세바르 빵베 니 동엘레 타르베 미남라 냥엘렌 데베 네갑나 셴레데 풍부라 마템바르 규메베 다 딱바 예바 멤버 녜바 디셔세 동엘레 타르 미남라 시기도와 동엘레 타르베 미남라스 냥엘렌 데베 네금 나세 냥데 톱소나스기오라 타바 톱소나스기오라 네금나 셴레데 네금나 셴레데 풍불라 마덴바르 규메베 다 딱바 예바 멤버 녜바 디셔사 풍불라 마덴바르 아니 규메베 딱바 잉겐게 다데 요마레스고라 디서 예바 멤버 녜바 디셔세 둥에 레터 미남라 셴라 예바 멤버 녜세 둥에 레터베 미남라 냥엘레 데바 토베 네갑 나시고라 자 딜레 셴레 데세 마토베 네갑 이나라 풍불라 마덴바르 규메베 다딱바 예바 멤버 녜바 레시고라 다딱바 예바 멤버 레세 대선자 디체르 넘버 꾼동아 다 세바 레시 자와르 죄스기도 디체르 남주 된도 니베 기부 다스기도 디체르 넘버 꾼도 다세 남주스는 타르바 된도 니베 기부 토스기라 다세 아니 넘버 꾼동아 당지 넘버 탐제도 세바 방바 레시 죄바르 자예세 세바 레시 죄버자 오 간사데즈게 다든 zemba 넘버 꾼도네 빵바레세 타르바토바 데세 로아 당지 넘버 탐제도 세바 빵바 레스 타르바토바 레소 텐데 람네 아보레스 거라 레시 자와레 죄버 자예스 텐데 랍고 그레세 괴바 메베 죄베 다 딱바 켈랑버 메자오세 디스마 동에 레터 미남라 셴라 예바 멤버 녜세라 다 딱바 예바 멤버 참에 녜버레세라 디데자 남르게 티처 넘버 꾼도 다 세바 레시세 타르바토바 데세 넘버 꾼도 다 델 당진 세바르테니 녀모 세바라 녀모 케메데 다 타르바토바 레세 어딜람네 아그레세 다 딱바 예바 마레세거라 노 디스와 어디 찔럽야
Now this is 224, the verse, and it's the third part of refuting sectarians' liberation identified with the self, and it says suitability of the complete abandonment of conceptions of a self as liberation. So here, liberation is the complete extinguishment of the afflictions that are based upon our conception of self, or what do you say, misapprehension of a self. So here, or grasping at a self. It is certain that those liberated from suffering have no other self. This is the verse. Sorry, I didn't introduce that. It is certain that those liberated from suffering have no other self. Therefore, the end of the self should always be affirmed as good. So to explain this, the commentary then says, it is certain that in the state of nirvana, people who have gained liberation from suffering by completely abandoning or completely eliminating the contaminated aggregates. That's the aggregates that are taken, are appropriated through our afflictions and karma. Then they have gained liberation from suffering by completely eliminating the contaminated aggregates through the total elimination of the disturbing attitudes and emotions, that's the afflictions, have no other causeless permanent self which does not depend on the aggregates. Okay, there's no other self that somehow does not depend on the aggregates. Therefore, people who aspire to become free should always affirm that the complete ending forever of conceptions of a self is good. So the complete ending, complete extinguishment of this grasping at a self or conception of a self or misapprehension of a self, that's good. When you completely eliminate that, then you completely eliminate the afflictions that come into that, all the afflictions that are based upon that, and that a person who aspires to become free or liberated should never assert the existence of such a useless liberated self. The one asserted in the Thabkhe position.
Yes, sir. That don't show can you subscribe the share we want to oh, tanda karsik dosne. Tungele thar menamla shala yeba member ngesik doa. Tanguni dimba. Jeza tungele tharbe menamla sigora. Ni nyangele debe negab nada. Nyangele deba matobe negab liya. Pungula madembe gyumebe takbe tade yeba member chemeng heba resigora. Tharba tobe negab inenda. Tharba matobe negab inenda. Takbe tade yoma res. Chemeng heba res jara.
That
De. Tungele thar menamla shala yeba member nges. Tanda ngazu lab sarimba. Tanda su tuje labgi vacation dange.
Dungele thar.
Tungele tharwe menamla nyangele debe negab naya ta takwa yo mare. Ane nyange matobe negab kwa negab naya. Ane pungula madembe gyumebe ta takwa yoba member chemeng heba res gora. Nyangde toba kabinada, nyangde matobe kabinada, takwa yo mari chemenge bare sigora. Oh, tene tharba tobde kharchare sede. Ene tharba doni je kansa de nga samsa ge nganjin se. Nganjin se ne sebar pangsona. Tangjin sebar pangsona. Ne chakdang ji nyamu sebar pangbare. Oh, tide tharba tobare silabna yaware sigora. Cheran takwa kele ne tinde nyauta sudeni choyo mare sigore. Oh. You love that. Do you shantere?
The Nishi's Shiva.
Tande de Joshua and you love Sare, Tang Tuje Labge, Yanga Tuje Labge, Shorgan Nishidera.
So then, in summary, it's saying that it's what is the use of asserting these liberated selves and so forth as existing as a permanent existent at the time of liberation, whereas liberation is when you completely eliminate this misconception or grasping at a self, and thereby eliminate all the afflictions that arise from that misconception or grasping at a self.
Oh yeah, that ko number sanje bichigine. Taade gyumeba mare taale gyuyora. Gyuyeza ko midagwarwa. Jeza takwa yo mare midagware. Taale gyuyore sigora. Ani taale gyuyore midagware. Ta koya yore, koya garchen korgi yore, nga samsang nganjin ki ani chakdang ki lesan kwa khuyora o da nga samsang ge nganjin di so chakdang ge ong le ma san tarwa thogyo라 o ti do za kera takbe ta ye ani kwa kirang ge labe takbe da gyu me che takba yenge ge ta de tarwa thobde yo mare kwa khode yo mare sigora ta tarwa thobse za ta de koya chawa nyamo nganjin de ses parpang sona tarwa thoba yi ta mitak ba yi ti lamne yakshure sigora yakore sigora
So what a Buddhist is saying is that the self is not causeless. The self is caused, and then it exists. Then through the grasping itself, then the self or the person, however you want to think of it. Travels through samsara over and over again, and liberation from that condition, there is completely. It is the complete elimination of this grasping itself, and thereby eliminating all the afflictions that are based upon that misapprehension of a self. So then, why would you then? This is a good. What is it? This is a good explanation of the process of liberation. Why would you want to assert a self that is? Why would you then try to assert a self that is a liberated self that is permanent, that it exists at the time of liberation? So that's the summary.
This one. Don't you should go and you sing about it. No, somebody tindup kagba. Mitebe choba nesigdo. Oh, temba truba ta takba temba truba rama chen tende ta ni temba truba kakba de digmindu su choba chugdo. Shenda chula gdo. No, kande lagdusne. Kede trewe negabna trewe ta mechesigdo. Tarwa tobe negabna ya ene trewe ta mebe charo. Ni temebe mingje nyangelen deba ya duchi nam lar menjung wese. Tenda mebe nyangde deba tobe seya ene duji nam pungbula soba tezo lar minjunga kanga zonrwa shewa lar minjunga yesigora tendi chedama sheba na she tarba tinde yina seri sigidwa
Oh, did Chedama?
Chedama mare kunzo chiriba chulabge ora no tindu temba truba kakpa tindu midu sugora kede trewe negab na se tarba tobe negab na sigora ene trewe takbe ta tinreche mebe chesigora temebe mingchen ji nyangelen deba ya tenda mebe nyangde tobe yinsi labgi doa sigora ya duji nam lar minjo nyangde top sa sona pungbu yang ya yo mare sigdoa sera tangzi seba zamdo mawa na sa nga samsa nganjin de se sona tarba toba res labgi doa sera tendrawe tenam tendo nyewe chisha te karu koba yo re sigora kirandil choch mindu sigora ta tenda karesne nga samsa lo de se sona ne tarba top sigdo sigora trewe da takba mindu ko konge da takba rangone trube da temba mindu ase nga samsa lo de se sona ane tarba top res ti karja res pendo mindu se nga samsa lo ye shuchim aya de la gudo chishi chase ko la gore jigden pande ni la yese tendam namge mai de se jigden ba la chungse yese tambe ten la ye mai se o de jigden ba ga namsha she de yaksho de sha se keran de tarwa se de chomendo se ya gomendo se aresna tal tani lekson de ben jigden ba migla sok ba da nyugula sok ba de da khelen ba la yese o de yese Tembanzi draw de Kangachi de Yabudo Sigara. Tandam number Kundo Kelang Barchawa, Mayin de Ese, and it Tamba Truba Kelang Barchawa de Maharese. Tandamba Kaya Truba Mayin Sigara, Kelang Barchawa, Mayin de Ese, Tandamba Yogur Sigara. Jigdemba La Kelang Barchawa, Kemiki Leda Kimda. Nagla Sogba Chungse Yola, San Jigdemba, any Kela Yore, Kewa Yore, Mekewa Yore, Kangba Yore, Nang Yore, oh, te Sugda Rexa Longje, Kanga Yore Sigora, Chungse Yola se. Tambeton la Kelang Barchawa, Chungse Yoba, Mahimbe Chirse. Don't Tambalia, Keran Kage Chungse Kela and Mesig doase. Tambatu Bangone, Trande Yoba Chungovici, Yoma Sigora Sigora. Oh, Tati Karjure, the Pendom Hindu Sigora Tenda. Susu Japan de Sigurandi, Jigdepan de Nilaye, Tondam number Queen Maindes, the Messic Dose, Jigdebala Chungse, Chendru Pandro, Sundru, Sugda, Kanga Yosig, Keran Kage Messi Lagudo Asgora. Oh, did they, and the Mandic Baresigor, that and that, de Caresana, 6 de Shung de Marin de Wangma delia. Dine Zoba de Zobe Shungduze, Zoba Zone, Tilla Lanka, and the race. Oh, yeah, that is left handed. Oh, the Tandua. Really loves it.
So the next section here is the final section of this chapter, and it says, arguing the unsuitability of refuting true existence. The verse reads, the conventional is preferable, but the ultimate never is. Ordinary people have some belief in this, but none in the ultimate. And so it first starts out with the perception of, or an assertion from the viewpoint of the Thabkhe follower. If during liberation there is no liberated self, and nirvana, which is termed the ultimate, is said to be the mere ending of conceptions of a self through the non-recurrence of that which is composite, what is the purpose of striving for such an ultimate? It's just it's saying, it's saying, I have no use for your idea of what the, what liberation is. It is preferable for those, and then it stated here, it is preferable for those who are interested in their own good to accept conventionalities like eyes, sprouts, and so forth, but not to assert any ultimate, okay? For ordinary people have some belief in virtuous and non-virtuous actions, their homes, forests, and so forth, but none whatsoever in the ultimate. So they're better off accepting conventionalities. So then this particular stanza was written in connection with the extensive refutation of the self in the following chapter. So it's connected to the next chapter. Since it is interpreted as a controversial contention in Chandrakirti's commentary, it should not be accepted as our own contention. It's not stating our own purpose or our own ideas. Idrissa.
This one, oh yeah, done this one. Tangan to the Rapchi de Kubadu Sosa. Oh, done dear Mabas indeed, and the Geshe machine driver should Sungiora. Chitan Nange, Tinjon Chernam Nesiba. To your batina, you get a cheat and decidu, cheat station Azela Soban Zambulate to Segura. Nange tendesidu, Nange, any. Yala Junila Soba to Segura, Quata, Quotankulu to Segura. Chidan Nange, Tinjon Chernam Nesera, Tension Temperature, Chim over Yenaya, Tuchen chami takba tanga tindriki cheba maari de yinaya ko tuchen che simchen ki le yuwa ko tuyo mangbo tsu tso ra tuyo yuwa de tuyo mangbo tsu tso ane zambu ling cha ane tila tenne zishin nabze la soba tezu cha ane tila midan tendro la soba tezu ke ane kwanzo long che tila long che ra tome maari be kuna la nipan rizki le sa sumba namshi ane mele ke kashe tendro li ke tende chene kwa kogo yo ra. Di chida nange tenjun chwe namne tene yoba tala nyeba desi. O tsama shenche la tojen relen jungu ba sheji chi tende inenda. Nange tende inenda kansa tome maribe kune la. Ane nyeban dosi ke le sange sa. Ane tere sumba namshi le paksha sha. Ane shiba ming susi kyawa la. Ane sukla teru re jato zo longche. Ane chakna ke yang le sa yang kor tu chendo de yora ta chi tende na chisina sala soba kanga ngama kyule teni chu takbe kyule teni yo mare takbe kyule teni chu ine tenjin de ban chu de yo mara no nang ba san de de ta de so de she do shen da yang ke ma bu che ko tang bu gyu de takba chi sha do tang bu gyu de takba chi sha chi so sha na da ku ju che ba de sin da takba chi sha ti ne lia drama go ach ko ra tingeli kyu meba chikore, ngotsu sa chikore, takba chikore, tene takba degene drebu kene, tenre cheche yongu kore samgiyora. Oda nangba chene, takba chegi gyu chene drebu yongya yuwa ma resi gora. Kanga gyurdo chene, gyudan ken tsone, ten gyurwa chene, ene chi tenre hina tenre che yongu kore, nangi tenre hina kon gyurwa cheche, susu nga samsa loche, ene nga samsa nga ye samsa chakdangi loche, tele tene lunga ke lesa tele tene ne kyo lang de sa kyo sang bu da nge ba lang chi tin su do yo ra o de ko takbe kyo yang ya yo ma re de jen chame yo ma re chi so yang ya yo ma re jig den che ba bo takba chi yo ne te ge ne su je sha ba se sha ba ti ke le yo ma ra in ji mi da ba chi ko yo ra kyo mi da ba chi ko ra kyo mi da ba le tene ne de bu chung ra de bu se de ko ale ta mang da ma ra 다 교대에 gyurwache 다 달로서 교대에 gyurwache 아니 드레부 야 깨고 요래서 대선자 강가 땡진 드레버는 좋아래 땡진 드레버는 좋아 얘나 코 샹다질 땡진 깨고 요나 땡사디야 코 gyurwache 해 거라 딱봐 얘나 되게 말해서 딱벌레 깨나 땡진 드레버 좋아 말해 코 gyurwache네 대단 드레는 냠도 용고 요라 어디 형 코 딱바지 대샤네 드레부 강가 개형 계시고 요라. 텐데도 연구요 말해. 대네 텐데 제기요 말아. 대네 치다 난게 최남 니에세 뜨네 여봐 달랑에 반여세. 뜨신 전에 땡진 대반 좋아라야. 네반예 버체고래 심버체고래 송겨라. 대네 랑게 ngoyo tongba shechenes 땡진 대반 좋아이나 매 랑외네 주바 딱바 랑외네 주바 차셰를 또 매군게 수질을 또 매군게 될 매군게 코라라랑 그 수용하셔야지 성해요 말했어요라 교단계 망부처는 교로체체 코끼고요라 그거 랑은에 주바치 용해요 말에 생기 왕게 수용고요라 랑어요가 수용해요 말에 수질을 또 매군게 랑이 차셰 매게 두전 참미선도 차셰 매게 가게 매게 코라라 요요가 가디네고 요데 근데 용해요 말에 두천리는다 달리는다 셰발리는다 강가용요 말아 떠네 여바 달라 이게바데 랑게 ngoyo 동바 셰제네 타제 우메된라 케버자세 랑게 ngoyo 요바 최강요 말에 이내에 땡진 제벌 중앙선도 자와치기 어려서 체바 말에 체베 탈레 땡로라 땡진 제벌 중앙선도 자와치기 어려서 빼매바 말에 아니 랑윈의 요르베스는 간주 통하나시 랑윈의 요르베스는 랑윈의 두베요 말에 딱타스라디 딱버렸다에 타단체 딱제게 타니데 우마 동반이기 때문에 개발시고 그래서 거도 망도시 서다들 강영요 출락시들
So just to summarize the final stanza of this this chapter says, discovering that external and internal dependent arising phenomena exist in reliance, in dependence or connection, or how does that? Different ways of translating that. So here, the commentator Gyaltsab is pointing out that the non-Buddhist tenet systems have always relied on not of some kind of a permanent first cause for things, that has to be some kind of a beginning, and that beginning has to be permanent, and then that permanent thing, whether it be a general principle or a self or many different names, creator deity and so forth, what do you say, divine creator, all these are put forth because the persons who put forth these kinds of philosophies can't, they feel that there can't be like an impermanent causal chain that has no beginning to it. That there has to be some kind of beginning. So then, but in the Buddhist viewpoint, there's this idea of us being, coming into existence through the 12 members of dependent arising, and so then what you have is this grasping itself then causes us to get involved in attachment and hostility and all the other afflictions, and then these afflictions give rise to karmic actions, which then cause us to be reborn into or it causes us to appropriate aggregates in cyclic existence, and then we then experience our world both as pleasure we experience both pleasure and pain in our and use the resources of a world of cyclic existence, and then create more karma that through the that then gives rise to a constant round of rebirth in cyclic existence. And so there's so if you so it's essential to the Buddhist viewpoint of seeing that there is this constant unfolding of causality, of various causes and conditions giving rise to effects, and these effects then becoming causes and conditions that they themselves become causes. So this, but then and then also in connection with that, understanding their emptiness of existence by way of their own entities, that nothing exists by way of its own entity, or is somehow self-existent, or independently existent. That they're empty of that kind of existence, and so through then it says so their emptiness of existence. and understanding their emptiness of existence by way of their own entities. So you're understanding that, you're discovering the workings of external, that means external objects and internal dependent arising, that all phenomena exist in reliance, and then understanding their emptiness of existence by way of their own entities. They're all dependent entities. Everything is dependently existent. Everything is empty of existing in its own right by way of its, by, what do you say? By another way of translating, by way of their own entities is by way of their own essence. Then grow wise in the meaning of the middle way, free from the extremes. The two extremes are nihilism I guess nihilism we'll call it, and eternalism. And so nihilism is avoided by the assertion that things do exist independently. And then eternalism is refuted by this idea of them being empty of existing by way of their own essence, that they're empty of that kind of existence. So in that way, then we grow wise in the meaning of the middle way, free from extremes.
This one.
Jason.
가져. 오, 야, 네, 됐시나. 지금도 다시로 생도. 누가? 야, 오, 되잖아. 다 가래서도. 오래. 뒤뒤 치잖아, 그래도. 니바 레비 차이된 반에서도. 장주 선배 nen주 주베 시게바. 남셰 레버셰바 닝부시 저발에. 뭐뭐 딱바 가바. 공바템바 셰저 럽두치바 구벤제바 오시기도. 이상 공여보트서 강가 딱바스도 다 랑군에 주바 가바. 나시기도. 이거 대서 강가 공바 템바서 공제 땡기오라. 말아서 단다 셰브나시 뇌진 직된도서 컨데스 차버레스. 단데 이거도 안 가죠. 칼라 롱텐셔라. 남 나체루자. 남과 똥발이야. 룽치 룽땡기레셔라. 칼라 롱데. 텔레 추이긴고 디간을 추차래 셔라. 텔레 사차래 추이는 사차래 셔라. 텔레 사신데데. 텔레 로아텐스 텔레 로아텐라. 심제 레레 추베 추니디 데세. 도나 용도. 오 레게 온고 건능과 똥벌이야. 지den지 감된데스고 라면다. 망보지 차지 때도 그거라. 오데 심제 레레 추베 추니디 데스. 디나 신체 단단 가서 주제 딱 받아 지소를 소바틴데 제가 말해. 심쟁게 레사네 디왕게 룽다 남가 동바치 때네 룽데 때네 추시에 때네 잠불린데 차 텐데제제 코 땡진 데버리 좋아 교가망가말 때네 치마치마께데 미다바 미다베큐 미다벤데부 텔레 때네 랑위네 투바 랑신지 투바 치네 진지데 가야 용게 매섬 공부라 어데네신 나게 간사라 나래 찍버와 다세데 딱바라고마치 요마레 토메 마리 베꾸네는 니반도치게 레사 기디기 레경게는 메다냐와 텐돌라 소바 로아리 메다메달리 티요레서 덴지데 버조아레스 데데 다디야 라완데 투바치 요마레 다가 롱제자 치네진지데데 라문네 투바치 요마레 쿠다케게 왕게초데 메다반 유레 쳐진체 라완메바 규진 왕고 용된게치 네 랑신지 랑문네 요마레 차셰라 뜻인데네 레파 딱바 삼제에서 근데 검고요라 네 삼로 땅에 셰기요라 검자세 그래서 셰드티 셰르마데 근데 그 삼로 땅제 야네 한도 삼로 땅에 내 삼도 검수도 될수요라 어디지 랍셰 되게
The chapter ends with this paragraph that says, this concludes the commentary on the 9th chapter, showing how to meditate on the refutation of permanent functional phenomena. And from Essence of Good Explanations, explanation of the 400 on the yogic deeds of bodhisattvas. So here, these are 400 verses on the yogic deeds of bodhisattvas. So when it says here that to meditate, it means that we're bringing to mind that how things come into existence and in a dependent fashion, and so then that is explained by first, instead of having this explanation of these permanent partless particles suspended in empty space, there is this idea of empty space, but then and then upon that is what do you say? The element of water, and then what do you say? The element of because Dongba Gangla did Chu, Chu Gangla didn't.
Color long then.
Oh, yeah, lung, Kala lung. Then the upon that, then there's a kind of wind energy on the empty space, and then on the wind energy, then the you have the what do you say? The element of water, and then out of this, based upon the karma of the beings that inhabit the universe, then there arises all the various phenomena within of the world, of the universe, and then the beings within it that use those, what do you say, experience or make use of those phenomena, and then. Then we'll continue from that idea that just all of, whether it's the beings within that universe or the universe or all the phenomena within that universe, all of them lack any kind of existence, any kind of true existence or existence from their own side, and have this dependent existence. And so then, Angela is saying, just we'll be able to continue with this kind of explanation tomorrow with the next chapter. So then we'll have to do more. So then we say the dedication here at the end. I dedicate all this virtue to emulate the knowledge of the hero Manjushri, and likewise Samantabhadra as well, with whatever dedication is praised as supreme by all the conquerors who traverse the 3 times. I also dedicate all my roots of virtue for the sake of auspicious deeds.